Yes, people, welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to KGX to the ZTV. New background. We'll keep it there because we're not in the usual spot. But big up everybody as always for checking in. Make sure you guys hit that like, hit that subscribe, turn those notifications on. But yeah, let's get into this one. Chelsea 3, Wolves nil, clean sheet, 3 points. Second in the table, I believe. Obviously, there's some matches tomorrow. Bournemouth plays tomorrow. Liverpool, Man City, obviously the huge one. So we could potentially move down, but a much needed 3 points, um, a much needed performance after the midweek disappointment in Karabag where we got the draw. Um, much needed, um, sort of much needed kind of a match to sort of let the fan base relax, and especially since we're heading into the international break, it's a good time to sort of get a good performance in, so we have some good short term memories, get some folks healed up, right? Did a little bit of rotation in this one, kind of get some players some minutes, get them some confidence, and luckily today they put in good performances. Look, first half was a little bit slow, and we'll get into it. But so about the lineup first before we kind of keep things on our normal proceedings, right? Um, Sanchez in goal, no shocker there. Right back James was given a rest, so it was Gusto in. Center backs were the same partnership that we used for Tottenham, so it was Trev at right side of center back, or maybe that was Fofana at right side of center back, um, and then Trev at left. To be honest with you, I really can't remember too much because Wolves did very, very little. But I think it was Trev on that left side and Fofana on that right side. And then the left back, of course, is going to be Cuckoo. Midfield, Enzo, Caicedo. And the 10 was Pedro. Up top was Delap. Right side was Neto, who came back in from his injury. And then on the left side was Garnacho, who didn't feature except for the second half, and he did get his goal versus Karabag. But first half, um, first 20 minutes were very, very good. Very good. We moved the ball pretty quickly. The intensity was there. Defensively, we were winning all the second balls, all the 50-50 balls, all the challenges. Wolves didn't lay a glove on us the whole match, but especially in that first 20 minutes and especially in the first half where they didn't have a shot. We created some good opportunities. There was an opportunity for João Pedro in the box that he fluffed. There was another opportunity for a couple opportunities for Enzo, um, where they brought some really good saves. I think he had the one where he sort of hit it into the ground, and then the Wolves keeper tipped it over the bar. And then I think Gusto had a header in the first half that was ultimately went out for a corner. But the opportunities were there, especially in that first 20 minutes. After that first 20 minutes, Wolves kind of sat back a little bit and they got into their defensive shape, and they were dealing with a lot of the crosses that were coming in. We started getting bogged down a little bit in possession, moving it a little bit slower than what we needed to face first a low block. And look, we knew they were going to come out in the low block. They came out in the low block against us when we played them in the Carabao Cup. Um, and look, at times, we struggle against low blocks. I see a lot of chat on Twitter and especially in our group chat about different avenues to break down low blocks. I'm a proponent of the lineup that we had out today, where we had pretty much two center forwards out there. Because I think low blocks, I think you need to send in crosses. I think you need to make the pitch as wide as possible because we know Wolves plays with the back five anyway, so they're going to really be compact in the middle of it. So to play through that middle, especially when they're not offering anything going forward, and you need to sort of break them down. I think you need to move the ball quickly from side to side, get it out wide, sending crosses. But that last 20 minutes of that first half, we were the timing of the crosses wasn't there. We were sort of being predictable in our crosses, right? Neto would chop it back onto his left foot, send a cross in. At that time, they were set up in a good defensive shape. They've got pretty decent physical tall center backs. And then look, Wolves is bottom of the league, bottom of the table for a reason. But when it comes to dealing with aerial balls and things like that, they're not the worst at it, and they're sort of set up for it. And like I said, they're going through a transition right now as they wait for whoever's going to be their next manager. But first half was slow. We ended the half slow. There were some boos here and there, but we started, second half. no changes, which I like because it's one of those things where if you make a change at halftime that's not an injury force change, then you know it's going to be something related to something related to sort of a self-admission that you've got your tactics wrong. And Maresca didn't get his tactics wrong at all in this. Didn't get his lineup wrong. Didn't get his substitutions wrong. It was just a matter of just player quality. We just needed Jao Pedro to be a little bit more clinical. We needed Delap to be a little bit more mature in his hold up play and making some decent runs. And Enzo was on smoke that first half. He's very good for the entire game, but he was finding people in the channels. He was putting in decent crosses. He was getting into good shooting positions. He was dictating the game and doing all the things that Enzo haters sort of beat him up about. He was excellent at today. So obviously, so props to him. But second half, we get the goal. I think around the 50th minute mark. Gusto of all people, a Gusto header too at the back post, which was made it even more unbelievable. But good cross from Garnacho, sends it in. We go 1-0 up. And from there, and I talked about this before when we play low blocks and when we play teams like this and on Jimmy's stream, where once you get that first goal, Wolves have to chase and they have to come out and they have to be a little bit more expansive. And they were they were terrible today. They weren't very expansive. They even when we were up 2-0, they still didn't come out very much. But we get the second goal. Oh, and it's Esteval who came on for um, actually came on for Delap, right? So we pushed at what we thought was going to happen was we thought Esteval was going to come in the 10 and Ja Pedro was going to go up to the 9, but it was actually Neto that went to the 9. Ja Pedro stayed in the 10, and then Esteval right wing, and Esteval did a very good job. Beats his man around the outside, plays across in, it takes a slight deflection, but it finds Jao Pedro, and Jao Pedro just slots it home. Um, Clinical on that finish, which is something that he's been very suspect at finishing some of these easy chances in these last two matches, going back to the Spurs match as well, where he should have had a hat trick. But he finishes his chance, so that's 2-2 for Jao Pedro. He needed that. And then the third goal, we catch Wolves on a counter. Again, Enzo, who's the one who starts the counter, finds Garnacho over the top. Garnacho takes like two or three very good touches where he cuts across the defender so the defender can't really take him down. He had the defender beat for pace anyways, and then it's just a simple square. And then Neto, one thing Neto's going to do is he's going to run. He's on his bike, right foot tap in, and 3 points are in the bag. It's 3-0. Could have had more. I saw the XG from these last two games, and it was I think like almost around a little shy of 8 for us, and then a little over like 0.25 or something like that. Wolves had one chance down the end where Cucurella in the middle of the park decides to head the ball backwards. Chalaba doesn't read it. And then the guys threw on goal, but he's fighting off Chalaba a little bit, and then Cucurella is on his heels. He shoots it a little bit early, and then it goes wide, and I think that's pretty much their only shot and their only chance on target. But yeah, business as usual today. Like I said, Wolves is 20th place for a reason. Um, Good to go into the international break. 3 points, good vibes. I think we're unbeaten in like 4 or 5 or something like that. So good run of form, but we've got some tricky ones when we come back. I know we started out with, I believe it's Burnley, maybe away to Burnley, and then it's Barcelona midweek in the Champions League, and then Arsenal at home on the weekend. So important for us to get the 3 points today. Important for us to kind of get rested back. I think Palmer might be back after the international break. We know Lavia is going to be out for a while. We know Suga is going to be out for a little while. Caicedo took a little knock to his knee today when somebody pretty much went studs in on him onto his knee. I think very early on, but he shook it off. Quiet performance by Caicedo today, but 7 out of 10 as usual. Man of the match today. Ooh, it's tough. It's tough. And let me know what you guys think about your man of the match in the comments. Garnacho obviously was fantastic with 2 goals or 2 assists, and was a threat down that left hand side the entire match. But I'm going to give it to Enzo. Enzo just for me was just controlling. He was creating opportunities, creating chances. That was the kind of game where you want Enzo to sort of dictate the pace of it, and he did. He ran the game today, ran the show today. So, but look, nobody was poor today. The defensively, Gusto was good today. Like I said, Wolves didn't do really anything going forward. Some of that was a mixture of their tactics and their setup, and then the other of that was, of course, our defenders. Oh, these late games, these defenders, and how well they sort of read the game and sniffed out any sort of danger and what little danger there was. But let me know what you thought about the game. Let me know what you thought about who the man of the match was. Top performance today. Subs were good. The lineup was good. And just a very calm 3-0 that you want to get versus a struggling side like Wolves. So as always, big up. Hit that like, hit that subscribe, and we will see you at the next one. Peace.